At the start of the anime, a hero named Helck defeats a demon lord. The hero is also in bad condition. After defeating the demon lord, the human race is very happy. They took advantage of the situation and entered the demon's castle to take control. 3 months passed, and a fierce competition started in the demon realm to select the next Sermon King. Vamirio, of level 78, is the manager who started this tournament. Another demon named Han is also with her, and he tells her about the condition. She sees the competitor and says, looking at Helck, that he's a human. She rebukes Han, who allows this human to enter and enroll his name. Vamirio says humans are their enemies. The demon says Helck wants to kill all humans, and he cannot pose any danger to them. She says to disqualify him, but the demon says they can't do this. He says his level is 99, but they can give him another challenge so they can disqualify him, but she is very angry. Agent Asta goes into the realm to get information about Helck, and Helck wins the contest, but Vamirio is very angry. She goes to disqualify him, but she likes his meal and passes him. An agent comes to Vamirio and tells her information about Helck. He kills his brother, who is the one who kills demon lords. Helck is seen watching a photo, and a demon fellow Kinross comes to him. They look like friends. Vamirio asks the agent if he's not the one who killed the demon lord, and the agent says no. His brother kills the demon lord. She says that Asta goes to 3 towns, but they are empty. Then a demon runs to Vamirio and tells him their castle fell due to the attack of white knights there. He also says they have wings, and Vamirio thinks his humans can fly. The demon lord sacrificed his life to save the citizens. She is angry and says that the humans are too close to them and they have to kill all of them. Vamirio thinks they have to get rid of the human guy Helck and make a strategy, and Han says it will work and they can get rid of him. They give him a steady ride and they think he cannot win the race. Helck's horse is too little, but all the audience is with him. When the announcer starts the race and all the riders run, Helck is still there with his horse. But he doesn't give up and talks with his horse, showing trust in him. Vamirio is looking at him. There are many traps in the way of competitors, and they bear it very hard. The demon says that Hura and Kenros are close to winning. Dorsha is also going very well. Then the announcer sees that Helck is running fast and close to the winning line. Vamirio says it's cheating because he's running along with it, and they will disqualify him for breaking the rules. Then they make a plan to take him off the bridge, and he will be defeated. But their plan fails because their people fall from the bridge, and Vamirio shouts at the demon for sending useless people there. Helck runs fast, and Kinross also copies him and starts running. Helck wins the race and Kinross is very happy, but Vamirio is full of anger. Then an agent comes to her and tells her the report is ready. There's no sign of an enemy preparing a plan against them. They are talking about the Nightwings, and Azudra comes to them and tells them about Helck. He says to take a test from Helck by sending him to fight with human knights. Vamirio doesn't want to trust Helck for a minute, but she thinks it's a good idea for the final. Then Anne comes from management and tells the 4 of them about fighting. Hyura and Helck recognize that she's the same judge for their cooking competition. Helck says it's a pleasure and they both shake hands. An agent is sitting in some place in the human realm and likes it very much. She goes there for research. On the other hand, Vamirio takes the 4 to a place to fight. Hura and the other men fought with a monster very well. They go to a place for some rest, and Vamirio looks at Helck's activities and observes him. Hura tells Kinross that she's pretty sure that Anne is a Lady Vamirio of the 4 elite lords. Anne also comes and hears their talk. She says she is just a member of management and they should not call her an elite lord. Helck makes delicious food and comes to serve it, but Vamirio doesn't want to eat his food a second time. Hura is sitting with her and understands. Then she eats the food and likes it. Azudra is playing a game with the demon, and the agent is quite worried for Vamirio. She asks some troops to serve, but Azudra and the demon tell her not to worry about her. Kinross and Helck fight with the monsters, and each of them is of a different kind. Helck fights very well, and Anne guides them. Hyura sees a big monster behind Anne. It is a very dangerous life-form monster, and they are afraid to see him, but Helck defeats him with only a kick. Then Anne asks him to burn its corpse after they reach the mountains. Anne says that if they win, they are crowned in the tournament, and whoever of them wants to become the Demon King has to kill the leader. Hyura feels very nervous, and the Dorsha also wants to go back home because he is out of chocolates. Kinross is afraid, and he hopes that Helck will become the Demon King. Hyura thinks she will never let Helck become the king. Vamirio thinks she is talking with Azudra, who tells her about his fight against Helck and gets a lot of injuries from his trap. They reach the place and look at the knights. Anne warns them to hide them and keep their voices down, but they already notice them, and Vamirio tells them to start the fight. Their fight starts, and they are afraid of the winged knights. A knight throws Hyura away, and she's going to hold the sword again, but a knight comes there. Helck asks the knight to stop by calling him Edel. Vamirio thinks, after all, they're humans. Edel tells Helck that he never thought that he would meet him there. The others are also shocked. Vamirio thinks one thing is confirmed: all the winged knights are humans. Edel says he's happy about an awakening process that gives him the power to fight against the demon. Kinross tells him other knights are coming there, and Edil tells him Helck is also awake as a hero who's stronger than knights. Hyura comes there and fights with Edil, who thinks she cut her, but how did she come back? Vamirio thinks that she belongs to the Alad tribe, which can heal their wounds quickly. Often, people call them the undead. Vamirio uses the summoning technique and burns the knights there. Hyura is going to attack Edil, but Helck stops her. Vamirio thinks that he's the enemy, but Helck says killing the knight is not a good idea. The earth broke, and they reached the bottom and saw a barrier stone there. Vamirio shows them. The swords belong to the knights. It's the gateway where they cast the spell. Hyura thinks they use such advanced techniques. A storm comes and Vamirio tells them they will end up stuck there. The gate is out of control and they have to close it. Dorcia says that the gate is drawing all its power from the barrier stone, and Vamirio says she's going to close the gate. Dorcia asks her to be careful because it is too risky. Kinross asks about Helck and says that he can help them, but Hyura says he's their enemy because he stood up for the knights. Vamirio is in danger and the gate is attracting her very fast, but Helck comes there and helps her. The door is going to close, and Vamirio and Helck are sucked in by the gate. Vamirio opens her eyes, finds herself near the beach, and wonders where she is now. Vamirio thinks that she's on the edge, but she's on an island. Aduzra, the agent, and the demon come to know about her disappearance, and that she's sucked in the gate. They became very worried for her. Vamirio is roaming, and a bit thankful for the gate because she comes to a very beautiful and peaceful place. She wants to go back soon to the demon realm. Then she hears a noise, and feels someone's presence there. She sees that it is Helck, who also sucked there like her. Helck is making a home, and a fuzzball is also there. She refuses to live in this house, and soon the rain starts, and Helck takes her home. He thinks he has a chance to kill her, but he doesn't if he is in their alley. Azudra thinks about Helck and then talks with the demon. He says to use the locator spell to trace her position. They use her hair and activate the spell, but they cannot find her location on the map. Asta looks at knights from the woods, and Vamirio is catching fish and thinking about why Helck saved her, but she also thinks that he shouldn't raise a finger against human knights. If he proves a threat, then he has to fight. Helck takes a big fish for her in the ocean, but it's something different. She asks him to get it back. She wakes up in the morning, and a devil brings food for her. The devil shows her the village and also shows her his home. He says a few villagers live there, and some animals are afraid to see her. Foosball comes there and tells her that Helck is making a boat, and she runs to him. She sees him cutting trees with an axe that's broken. She's happy that he can't make a boat yet, but Helck starts cutting trees with his hand. She says he has incredible energy. He comes to her, and she asks if he traces the direction, and Helck says not yet. A guy comes to Vamirio and Helck and asks them to come behind him. Vamirio understands that he must be the chief of the village. He looks strange but later comes to know her and gives them a surprise welcome. Everyone comes there and they eat a meal. She asks the chief the way back to the continent, and he tells them about the Great Witch. She is a wealth of information, and she can tell them the way. She lives on the top of a mountain. Sometimes she uses magic, and whoever tries to climb up the mountain ends up there. She talks with Helck, and he tells her that he never imagined that people outside would be very kind. She says he's very simple because he thinks everyone is so kind, but there's plenty of vile. She comes to know that he's a good person and feels guilty for suspecting him of doing no good. Helck says he's alone since all his human friends have become his enemies. He says living in solitude is very painful. Helck tells her about Adil and that they both are friends. He says he will fight against his friends because they're awakened as puppies who just follow the king's orders. Hyura and others are surrounded by knights who ask about their leader, and Hyura also fights with them. Isti and the demon also come there and say they came there to save them. Winged knights understand that they are trying to run. They come out of the place and Kinross asks where's the army. Hyura tells Lord Azudra that only one is enough for them. They are surrounded by the winged knights. He tells humans to avoid fighting, and they laugh at him. He says war is a foolish act that brings tragedy after tragedy, but it doesn't stop. Azudra makes his attack, and the branches of trees catch all of them. They come to know that he's the demon lord. He tells them he is one of the 4 elites, the Lord Azudra. Hyura and Kinross are very shocked to see that the Lord Azudra is very powerful. A demon tells them he thinks himself the weakest of all the 4 elite lords. Lord Azudra says to the knights that he still wants to avoid their killing. They are telling and suddenly feel someone's presence there. The knight's army is attacking, but only their people. One of the knights dies, and his corpse flies away. All the army of the winged knights is gathered at a place. They are talking with the human king. Asta looks at them wondering and reaches that place. There's a number of the winged knights there. They all go from there. Isti makes tea for everyone and also talks with her sister Asta, who is writing a report on the human realm. Hura says she can talk with her sister over a long distance. She tells them about the things that her sister Asta witnessed in the human realm. She tells them that certain winged knights have been resurrected. The announcer shows them a list of the problems, and Lord Azudra tells them humans are the weakest among the creations. But if all the humans awakened a hero, they would become the most powerful. The Lord tells the whole situation that the new world will take place and the empire will prosper. They become sad and ask him to find another way. If they don't have one, then it's hopeless. Azudra says they can nullify their resurrection by killing their human king. If he died, then they would never be able to resurrect him again. Azudra reaches the place where the gate opens. He throws an orange, the favorite food of Vamirio, from the gate so she can receive his message. Fuzzball walks there and eats the orange. He came there to collect some wood. He goes back, and Vamirio asks to give her wood because the fire is going to close. He threw the letter into the fire to make soup. She asks him about the paper he threw and he replies that he doesn't know. Helck is playing with foosball and Vamirio is sitting there and thinking. The devil comes there and tells her that the witch lady has arrived in the village. She becomes very happy and runs very fast to meet her. She asks the devil to inform Helck. When she reaches the chief, she says she has gone away, but he tells her their problem. They can go to meet her in the mountains. They go toward her with Fuzzball and she tells them she's always doing her research. They reached her house and she met with them. She asks the chief to tell her that they want to know the direction. She tells them their direction is in the northwest and they become happy because they can go back home. She tells them to prepare all their things, especially the boat that can withstand sea storms. The important thing is that Korstag proves a problem for them. He limits their field of sense, and it is another kind of animal that they have already seen in the sea. He goes into the sea to catch fish for Anne. Helck takes the same Korstag with him. Helck runs toward the sea to catch that creature, and Vamirio says she also wants to go with him. Vamirio asks who she is because she looks different from the people in the village. She also asked how she came to know about the direction of their continent. If she lived on that continent, she replied that it was a secret. They are going, and all the villagers will meet with them. The witch tells Vamirio to be confident and never give up on any situation. On the way, they come to know Pee-wee. Fuzzball is also with them, and she reads a letter written by the witch. A big shark attacked them, but they ran from there. Vamirio did not agree to take the Pee-wee with them. They spent a few days in the sea, and Helck prepared food for them. Korstag tells them the direction. One day, a sea storm comes, and the infernal monster also comes. She says the monster must chase them. They are going, and an infernal monster comes there. Helck goes to fight with him. He says she has to go. He will come after defeating the monster. She says if he is out of his mind, then the monster catches him and takes him underwater. Vamirio is looking at all this and can't believe it. She waits for him till morning and reaches the island. She is very upset, comes out of the sea, and is weeping. But Helck is already standing at the edge and laughs to see her. She asks why he doesn't come to the boat. If he is alive, Helck says he is not going to die because he has a goal to accomplish. She rebukes him for his foolish act, and Helck apologizes. She says they have to get ready to move on. They're going into the forest to search for a map. But some barbarians who live in that area arrive and say to follow them. Vamirio looks around and says, the people and the building there are in rough condition. The men tell them about the Tothmenman tribe. He says this place has been hell ever since the Tothmans took over. Then they escape them and ask to go, but at the same time, Tothman King comes there. Helck and Vamirio hide, and the king hits the princess there. He asks her to fight, keep victories on the battlefield, and keep on living. They say it's impossible, and they are going to kill her, but Helck comes to save her and fights with them. The king says he doesn't belong to their tribe. Who's he? Vamirio also comes there, and Helck fights with the king. Later, he comes to Vamirio. King thinks that Helck has died, but he's alive. The princess and soldiers are surprised to see that they are so powerful. Helck fights with the king and defeats him badly. Helck asks him to leave the place, but he doesn't give up and says he's the king of Tothman. Helck tells him to do it because he cannot fight yet. Tothman King becomes larger and larger than before. Vamirio asks the soldier to save the princess. She throws fire at him, but his wounds get healed. Then Helck fights the Tothman King, and he is defeated there and buried in the dust. Then a few barbarians come to them and thank them. Their curse has broken, and they all return to their actual bodies after the death of the king. The princess thanked them for bringing peace back to their kingdom of Irilla. She asks for their names to tell people about them, and Pee-wee gives them their names. At night, they celebrate a party, and the next day, they're going to the north to reach the continent. Helck says goodbye to everyone, and the person tells them about 2 continents. They walk into the town and see a map seller. The salesman asks to give him 50,000 lunds, but they don't have this currency. The salesman asks if they only come to the window shop. Anne says to give them to 4 for just a while. Then he can sell them to the customers. But the salesmen don't agree. They sit at a place and think about how to earn money. They take part in a cooking competition and can get 30,000 yen. They came there to buy tickets for the competition. Other high-level chefs also come there. The competition starts and everyone starts making their dishes. Ajikaba starts making his famous dish, and others are also making one-pot dishes. Anna checks his food and likes it. All the others are looking at them. Pee-wee is listening to a girl's song in the town and appreciates her. Master Rio announces that Helck is the winner. Helck says to Ajikaba that he is impressed a lot by him, and Ajikaba gives him a present. They buy the map, and the salesman is shocked to know that they belong to the Empire. He then tells them to avoid the northwest. The singing girl comes there and tells them that a warrior of darkness prowls around there. The singer girl tells them about the warrior of darkness and suggests they choose a long way instead of it. Pee-wee met with the girl, and Vamirio thanked her for the warning. They are going, and Pee-wee meets with the singer lady again, and they look at the destroyed buildings there. Vamirio feels someone's presence there, and a warrior of darkness comes there. Helck asks Anne to take Pee-wee, saying that he will fight with the warrior. Anne thinks he's the same warrior of darkness whom the girl tells them about. He can teleport to any place. She is upset to see this. He looks very strong and powerful. Anne hides Pee-wee and asks him not to come out. She goes to Helck. They both fight, but the warrior has more power, speed, and stamina. Warrior goes to Anne, but Helck asks him to fight with him, not his friend. Helck fought with him, and he was in bad condition. Anne remembers the witch's words while standing there. Finally, Helck succeeded in defeating the warrior, and Pee-wee also came there. Pee-wee sings a song by that singer lady, and Anne asks him to stop. She's worried about Helck and going to heal his wounds, but he heals his wounds. Then the warriors wake up and start walking. They follow him. The warrior tells his story. He wants to save his people and doesn't care what will happen to them. He becomes a warrior of darkness to save his people, but he can't save one of them. He appreciates Helck for his strong power, and also gives his sword to him. He says that before he died, he wanted them to sing a song for him. Anne asks Pee-wee to sing that song, but the singing lady comes. She's his sister, and she weeps a lot to meet his brother August. August asks how she is still surviving. She tells her because he saves her and a lot of people. She thanked Helck for saving him because she knew he could do it. She sings a song for him because he loves that song. Hayura is fighting with the winged knight, Adil, and he is defeated by her. Then everyone goes to eat the meal. Lord Azudra is talking with the demon. Isti comes there and tells him about the report. They have a lack of soldiers, and she tells the ranks of the soldiers. A demon girl takes tea for Lord Azudra and activates the spell, and the wooden doll starts moving on the map. They become very happy, and he tells the demon that Vamirio is in progress. Asta looks at the human knights while talking and tells them that winning is not their purpose, but they are working for something else, maybe to raise their combat levels. One of them feels her presence and finds her, but she hides. Isti asks Azudra if Helck is still with her, and she asks him not to worry about her. Vermilion will observe him closely while traveling, and they can trust Helck. She must be determined that Helck is not their enemy. That's why he's still with her. Then Azudra talks with them about the Helck. A big snake is behind Pee-wee, and Anne defeats the snake. Vermilio thinks that when she met Helck, she didn't know about his power. They drink tea, and Helck tells her about his hero killer series. The sword is Skeeter, but it has enough power to end a hero's life. She tells him she cannot believe in him, but after this journey, she concludes that he's not their enemy. Then Helck tells her about his past 3 powers as a hero. She receives everything else that happened in the human realm and the stories she hears. They walk and eat some ice cream in the town. They also dance with the local people there, and all of them like it very much. One of the ladies offered to let them stay at her hotel, and they went there. Helck tells his past story that they are 2 brothers. They grow up like orphans. When he was 6 years old, a monster came to their villages and took the lives of their parents. They head towards the capital so they can earn some money there. But the situation changed and the people and children of the high class beat them. His younger brother was very weak and was often beaten by the children. But one day, the doctor tells him that his younger brother is sick due to malnutrition. He takes him to the doctor every 4 hours during the night. The street was full of fog, but everyone was close to him. He begged for help from everyone, but they didn't help him. His brother apologizes because he always causes trouble for him. A noble comes to him. and he tells him his brother is close to death. She runs to her father for help. Her father comes and helps them. Helck thanked him a lot. He was a noble. Since they meet him, their lives start changing, and they come to life, praises him. They call him Captain Kless, and Helck is satisfied to see him happy. Helck thinks Shalami, the elder daughter of nobility, is the only one who helps them that night. She plays with them, and they are happy. The people of the capital who tease them feel jealous of them. Kless says he wants to become a soldier like Raphael to save the lives of people. He practiced hard and succeeded. Raphael comes to Helck, appreciates Kless and says he's the savior of the kingdom. He also says to Helck that he's the same as and stronger than Kless. They spend time with Shalami, and Helck observes that Kless and Shalami feel very close to each other, but she belongs to the nobles. The class tells him he is going outside for work. Helck tells him to come back alive because they will wait for him. A month and a half passed since Kless left them and went on an expedition. More and more monsters start arriving in the kingdom. Helck is also assigned a monster hunter soldier like Kless. He goes on a mission to kill the lifeform monster. It's his first time. Eventually, Helck succeeds, and then he goes with Edel to take him home. She sees that there's a fire in her town, and she sits there. Helck asks her not to give up. They have to save people. They go there, but a lady is already fighting with the monsters. Later, they come to know that she's the master of the mercenary group. She suggests that Edel take his people to safer places. Helck tells her that he came there only to defeat the monsters, and that's his reason. He spent time with them, and they enjoyed it a lot. Edel was a source of inspiration for Helck, and the master of the mercenary group, Alicia, was also very powerful. They filled Helck with optimism and brought a smile to his face. Helck talks with Alicia, who tells him that the job of a mercenary runs in their family, and her grandfather kills the Demon King. She talks with Helck and says he's very strong and keeps an eye on everyone. Her pride has torn to shreds since she met him. She says she can save all the people and she lets him go back. Helck tells Vamirio about Alicia and says the situation gets difficult. The monsters are coming continually, and Raphael says they have to kill the Demon King to finish all this. He tells the class to kill the Demon King to bring back the peace of the world. Kless goes on a journey and kills the Saruman Lord. Everyone makes a party, but Helck is very worried for Kless, who is in bad condition. The monsters are still coming, and all the people blame the soldiers because they killed the Demon Lord. Helck decides he will go to fight with the Demon Lord, and he enters the Demon Castle. He met with Azudra and also fought. He asked if they were sending several monsters to destroy their kingdom. Azudra says they don't send any monsters to them. Azudra asks if he has killed the Demon King. Helck says he is a mercenary. His younger brother fought with the Demon King. He shows the graves of his beloved people killed by humans. Helck says, but they have faster power than humans. Helck says they can make friendships and coexist. Helck says they can. He shows a ticket to a competition for the new Demon King. Helck is walking back to the kingdom and is thinking about how to tell his people about this. He may convey his talk to them in the right way or not. That's why Azudra believes in him. Then Helck sees some people beating Demarns. He stops them, and people also start to beat him. Mr. Raphael comes there and tells Azudra to take advantage of his kind nature. The demons come in their real form, and some heroes kill them. Then Raphael announces the secret power of awakening humans. Helck is not yet sure if Demon King is their enemy or not. He thinks of talking with his friends, but is not sure how they will react. He is standing, and the friends are talking with each other. He thinks that his friends are humans. He can believe in them. Maybe all the things that Azudra said are wrong. They say to Helck that he has to spend time with Alicia. He tells her to join him in the restaurant so he can talk with her about the matter. She goes for change. Helck also tells Edel to join them, but he's busy. The door knocks there. Helck opens the door, and a guy asks if there's anybody inside. There are two of them. Helck tells them their leader is in the next room. The person's name is Zeruzion, and when he comes inside, he tells Helck and Edel about things. He tells the world that the world is going through a horrific thing and they cannot go back. This is an awakening process. Once humans go through the awakening process, they can get a huge list, but it doesn't happen without any risk. The awakening process blocks the mind, and humans just become the puppies who follow the order. Great Saga Makaro is the one who devised this plan. He tells the king that he is the spellcaster. He tells them they use Kless to do all this. He tells Kless that he's in the heavy army and that he's Kless's friend. The class tells him to tell his brother if anything happens to him. They agreed to help him, and Alicia also came there and heard their talk. She says she'd rather die than be a puppy for anyone. They all go with Zeruzion, who kills the soldiers there. Helck tells them Azudra wants peace with them and never wants to kill. Alicia and others tell the demons that they treat them as enemies and that they will handle things peacefully. They reach the place where Kles is. The Mikaros and other leaders are also there. They say Ziru is a traitor who does not agree with their plan. Alicia says they aren't born to become their slaves. The king comes there and orders them to kill themselves. Helck says he comes to take Kles with him. He had the power to defy the king's order. The king ordered the class to kill them. Kles starts attacking, and Helck tells him he's his brother. Mikaros tells her child not to reach for him because he's completely changed and tells him about the things. He fights with Kles and makes him remember, and then Alicia attacks with her sword and heart. They all come to know that she has a killer sword. Mikaros snatches that sword to get it and hits Helck with it. They catch Alicia and Helck. He is very injured, and Mikaros tells Helck to join his party and come to his side. But Helck doesn't agree with him. Mikaro is going to kill him, but Kles comes and attacks him. He cuts both his hands, and the other can't believe that he has come to his senses and that the impact of the awakening process is being removed. The king orders him to kill the Helck, but he hits the sword at the king and kills him. Helck and others think that he will come back, but the king again orders him to kill Helck. He is going to Helck and thinks he is coming to kill Helck, but he says sorry to Helck. Kles says he always causes trouble for him and then hits himself with the hero slayer. Helck is shocked to see this, and he weeps a lot for his brother. Then he came to his real power and angered all the masters. He says Kles is not a tool to be used by someone, he's his younger brother. The only family he has, and he has no more. He cannot reach because he is far away from him. Alicia weeps and says sorry. They could not help his brother. He remembers when the nobles came to harass Kles, but Helck came and beat them. Kles says he feels very satisfied and happy when Helck is with him. They walk toward the home, and Helck turns back, but Kles is not there. Then, in the present, he sees that Kles has died in front of him. Helck wakes up, sees he's injured, and doesn't know where he is. He came out of the cave, and some guys were there who told him everyone thought him a traitor. They tell him his friends are still alive, but he gets upset and remembers they put their lives in danger to save him. Helck is running toward his friends, and many people in the way are protesting against him. He fights and kills all of them. Then a group of soldiers come there with their master, but he also fights with them. He remembers his friend's words, but to give up, he has to survive. Alicia is tied up in front of the public, and it's time for her execution. Everyone curses her arms and says she's a traitor. A man is very happy and says what she is feeling. The man was going to kill her with his sword, but he could feel a strong presence there. She's using the name Helck. Helck comes there at the right time to save her. He fights with the men who disown him and says the public wants to enjoy him, but he doesn't do anything. Then he goes to Alicia and apologizes for reaching out so long to her. She's very happy, and he takes her with him. Raphael comes there. He says that he thinks he is going to save his other friends, but he cannot do that. Soon the awakening process starts, and Raphael tells his friends that they will not remain the same as him. All the people become so much larger than normal humans. Alicia also starts behaving strangely, and Helck is thinking of seeing her to see if the awaken process is beginning. Raphael says anyone who comes into contact behaves like this. It doesn't matter where he goes. He says this snow will fall on the whole kingdom, and everyone who lives in the kingdom will be affected by it. He asks them to run away, otherwise, he will end up in the hands of his friends. He runs with Alicia, and she asks him to leave her behind. Helck says no, she doesn't have to give up. She says when they all weaken, they look the same, and he will never recognize her among people. Helck says whatever she looks like, but he can find her. She asks him to always keep a smile on his face for her. Helck left Alicia behind. Helck is running, and Raphael is looking at him. Raphael asks why he doesn't kill the girl and says that he's such a fool. Zell comes there and Helck is happy to see him, but Zell attacks him and says he's happy because he gains a lot of power by awakening. Vamirio says if he kills the king, then he might be able to end them. Helck says he also goes to kill the king but meets Makaros there, who's still alive. Makaros asks him if Kles has died, but he's still using him. Helck is in full anger, and Makaros says he will never let him enter his way. Raphael says he did well, but he has to go and live his life quietly somewhere, and he ended up in the demon world. Kinross takes him, and everyone treats him kindly, and they are nice people. He said he has to end up. It takes the cost of his life, but he will put an end to all this for his fellows. He gives his hero-like sword to her, and she tells him that she's Vamirio of the 4 heavenly lords. She says he's not alone, they will help him. They reach a train and sit inside. Helck says he never heard about trains before. A girl is flying in the sky to search for Vamirio. The girl looks at Pee-wee from afar, but she doesn't know that Vamirio is also on the train. After getting off the train, Alicia tells Helck that they have to reach the town before sundown. They reach a village and kill a monster. An old man says to avoid the village because of the monster, but they already killed him. The searching girl finds Vamirio, and she is very happy and gives her Azudra's letter. Then the scene shifts to Azudra, who is talking with the demon. Azudra says the one who will defeat the king is not one of them. He must be an inversion. Then he tells Helck and Vamirio who will kill. The winged knights and demons fight is going over, and Hura and Kinros are fighting with Adil. Another woman comes and attacks her from behind. Azudra tells his plan to Isti and the demon, who like it very much. Azudra says he's feeling a steering presence. He must be a human. She's walking and feels that somebody is coming there. She hides herself at the top of the street. Edel, Zell, and others are walking from there, and they are about to go into the second phase to attack the castle. They can feel her presence, and there is an attack on top. She falls from there and reaches a place where Makaro holds Klessa's dead body. She is shocked to see all this and goes inside a hole to hide herself. She wears glasses to see in the dark. She goes the secret way and reaches the library to read books. Then she comes out of there and feels someone walking toward her. She doesn't have any place to hide. She hangs out from the window until they leave the place, and then she comes inside. Ara tries to enter inside and reach the rim of Shalami, who doesn't know about her. Asta says she's marching and lost there. Shalami treats her kindly and also hides her when guards come there. She serves her hot coffee. Asta tells Isti by telepathy. She even didn't know that Asta is a demon, and they are at war with humans. She is beyond careless, and also says she's very lonely because she doesn't have any friends there.